Greetings, YouTube. I am Jamila, aka Saltwater Daughter, here to talk to you about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 10. I'm late this week, and I believe I'm going to be late next week. Like I told y'all in the last video, I'm transitioning to doing some new stuff on this channel, but I did promise myself that I'm going to finish out the season, and I am going to try. However, you're going to see some new things coming up on my channel very, very, very soon, within the next couple of days, okay? But we're here to talk about Married at First Sight today, child, so let's go ahead and get into it. This episode was actually very refreshing compared to these last episodes that have been getting on my nerves. So I actually enjoyed this episode. However, there were some moments that I found myself less irritated than I have been for the past couple of episodes. So let's go ahead and get into it. I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with Shaq and Kirsten, because Kirsten, girl, whatever your name is, what is going on? Kirsten is blushing, talking about Shaq, talking about how much she's enjoying living with him. And I'm like, what is happening? Either the producers are playing in our faces or Kirsten is. Somebody's playing with us, because that is not what she's been presenting this whole time. But anyway, she's disappointed because Shaq is away from home a lot. Ma'am, you do not want to kiss him. You do not want him to touch you unless the cameras are rolling. That's what Shaq told us. You act like you're annoyed with him. He can't blink. He can't laugh. He can't make a joke. He can't do anything without it getting on your nerves. And now you're mad because he's away from home doing his job. Make that make sense. I feel like Shaq is probably, now I believe he's working, but I also believe he might be spending more time away because, like, what is he coming home to? You know what I'm saying? It's like after the camera stopped rolling, she act like she don't want me there. So I might as well hang out with my mentees. Anyway, let Kirsten, whatever the child's name is, let her tell it. She needs to spend more quality time with Shaq, and she tells him just that. So they did the exercise that the experts gave to them. They talked about both ever being in love. Kirsten asked Shaq, you know, how did he know he was in love? He said that the person just really looked out for him and really cared for him. Kirsten didn't say what made her really in love with the man, but she basically said that her ex had her heart, he broke her heart, and that's why she has a wall up. I get it. I get it. However, why would you go on a show where you get married at first sight if you are not ready to open up your heart to anyone, ma'am? Oh God. I got a little bit for Shaq too, because Shaq says that he is away from home a lot because he's got to do the things that makes him happy. And I understand that, and I agree with that. You know, particularly as women, we tend to like forget about all of the things that bring us joy when we get married or get with these men. Right? I'm a strong proponent of me time, particularly when you get into a new relationship. I think me time needs to be prioritized. If you went to the gym before, you need to still be going to the gym. You know how people be saying they gain relationship weight? You notice it only be the woman that gained the damn relationship weight, right? Anyway, Shaq says, you know, he needs to do the things that bring him joy. So I get it, Shaq. You need to go to the gym. You need to, you know, be with your mentees and all of that. But you still need to prioritize spending time with your wife. I'm side-eyeing the both of them in this moment. To be honest with you, I feel like the tables have turned with Shaq and Kirsten. I feel like Shaq is starting to see things about Kirsten that he doesn't like. So he's starting to pull away a little bit more. I noticed when him and Kirsten were having the conversation about their exes, I was watching Shaq's body language. And to me, he's almost, it's not like he was in the first couple of episodes. As you see, his arms were folded a lot. He was looking away. He wasn't really even looking at her. His facial expression was very stoic. I just feel like he's starting to see things about Kirsten, that he just really is not feeling. That's what I think is going on between the two of them. And it seemed like when Shaq decided, oh, Kirsten wants quality time, so let me spend some quality time with her, he did something that he wanted to do, which was to go to the plant store. Now, Shaq, you could have taken me to the plant store and I would have been in heaven, right? Because that's my jam. But it was clear Kirsten wasn't really into it. And she was you know, y'all kept saying Dominique was immature, but Kirsten is giving me immaturities too. She's what, 32? She's giving me 20. like how you scared of a damn plant? Oh, that snake plant scares me. Like, what are you talking about? I get, she didn't like the way to plant. Snake plants are one of my favorite things, and they're very easy to keep alive. Like, as much as I love plants, honey, I'd be struggling with them too. Like, I try to have my mother had a green thumb, and I try my best, but baby, them snake plants, it's hard to kill them. So, Kirsten, that's what you need. But anyway, she didn't like this plant. He didn't like this plant. And then it was like, I felt like when she finally picked a plant, I felt like Shaq was almost low-key purposely disagreeing with her. I don't know. Their energy seems really weird. And like I said, I feel like the tables have turned. I feel like Shaq is a nice guy and we like him, but I feel like Shaq is being a little bit of a undercover. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's giving me something that can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm not feeling it. Like I said, his body language was off and everything. It seems to me too that Shaq is more like a, outdoorsy type person, and Kirsten is a homebody, because instead of like them going to a couples massage like Chris and Nicole did, she does a spa day at home. It was cute. She had the little foot bath and all of that. She massages him. And I'm like, girl, you're not even massaging him with your hands. Like, what is romantic about that? You using a massager on his back. Again, Shaq did not seem to be into it. And then they had a conversation. I don't know if the producers asked them to have this conversation, but they talked about, tell me something about you that I may not know. Shaq went deep. He talked about just being insecure, not being able to play sports with the other guys. I feel like Shaq doesn't really feel very manly. And this is, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I feel like Shaq doesn't present in this real macho way. And I'm sure for men, that's probably difficult, right? And then he said he went bald very early. And so, that made him even more insecure. And then he's got this scar on his head and all of that. So he said he was very insecure. And he said, so he had to excel in other ways. And we know that Shaq excels academically, right? He's very smart, very successful in that way, right? Comes Kirsten's time. And she was like, first she said, and Shaq called her out on this, and I'm glad he did. First she said, well, it's a lot. And then she was like, well, there's really nothing about me. And Shaq was so annoyed, and I get it. I feel like there were things that Kirsten wanted to say, but she didn't want to say them on camera. I mean, didn't we just get on the Real Housewives of Potomac for this very thing? Listen, this is why I would never go on a reality show, because I'm only going to go so deep. So I get it. But Kirsten, you agreed to come on this show, and you had to share some vulnerable things. And here you are like, I don't know, there's nothing that I really want to share. I'm like, even if you didn't really want to go super, super deep, there was something you could have shared. All right, let's talk about Chris and Nicole. They did a couples massage. The masseuse asked them if they touch each other like that. And Chris says they do, but they should probably do it more because touch is their love language. Now, Nicole was like, touch was not their love language until she met him. And I thought that was very bizarre. Because, ma'am, like, I get it. You and him are smitten with each other, but you've been knowing him for what, 3 weeks now? And all of a sudden, your whole trajectory just changed. I think her and Chris are really feeling each other, but I feel like Nicole is more in love with the idea of being in love. And that frightens me a little bit. Because later when they went to do some type of drink activity, they had the love conversation once again, and it was very clear that Nicole was trying to coerce Chris to saying that he loved her. I'm like, chill out, girl. It's been 3 weeks. You guys are going well. You like each other. You're doing the nasty. You vibing. Like, stop trying to force that, right? I feel like Nicole is in the place where she still believes in that fairy tale idea of marriage and love. So she needs him to say that for her to feel secure. And if anybody needs to feel secure on this whole cast, it needs to be Nicole, right? So I just hope that she does not frustrate Chris and and push him away with all this pressure for him to say that he loves her after 3 damn weeks. So later, the two of them are talking in their house, and Chris First, Chris starts talking about how he is insecure about his body. He has some things that he wants to work on and all of that. He leads with this, and then he turns around and says, oh, by the way, Nicole, when the people asked me how I felt about you, I was like, she's pretty, but she's a little thicker than what I expected or something like that, or a little thicker than what I would go for. Now, I cracked up because when they played the footage, Chris said exactly what he said. Because we know on these reality shows, when somebody says, well, I said so and so and so, they play the footage and they said something completely different. So Chris, you get the award for actually telling the truth about what the hell you said. What he said was not that bad. He said Nicole was a little thicker than what he's used to going for, and that's not a bad thing. That's exactly what he said. Now, this goes to cultural differences too. I'm not going to call Nicole thick anymore because she's offended by that. This goes to the cultural differences because you guys, I just told y'all I lost 50 pounds and it is still my goal to be thick. I don't ever want to be unthick. Shout out to the deadlifts, all right? Because I'm like, she told him, it's okay if I call myself thick, but you shouldn't call you shouldn't call me thick. And please don't describe me as thick to your friends. And I'm like, shoot, I want my dudes to be like, oh, my lady? Oh, she thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. What are you talking about, girl? But I get it. It's cultural differences. See, this is why white people, y'all shouldn't be yeah, somebody gonna get mad at me for saying this, but y'all always adapting AAVE, and then you turn it into some other shit, and then you get mad, and then it becomes offensive to you because y'all done took woke and turned it into something completely different. Now we offended by the word woke. Thick is something that was a compliment. Now y'all offended by the word. Now, keep AAVE out your mouth. How about that? And then we ain't got to worry about none of this. I just felt like even if he used a different word other than thick, like if he used, bigger or a little bit more plus size or whatever, right? I just don't think it was that bad. He was just saying he usually goes for a different body type, but she's beautiful and it wasn't a bad thing. That's all he said. But I have a feeling that Nicole is going to make this a bigger issue. We shall see, child. Let me get into the couple that makes me roll my damn eyes every week. Aris and Jasmine. So Aris has the COVID. And, Jasmine is trying to take care of him while he is sick. She's bringing him soup and all of that, even though she's got to go to work and do all of that. She's still trying to take care of him. And he gives her a 7. Like, what is a 10 in taking care of you when you got the damn COVID? So Aris decides to do something to return the favor. So he tells Jasmine he wants to wash her dog. I actually thought this was very sweet. Aris reminds me of someone from my past, where they do very sweet things and make very sweet gestures, but it doesn't mean that they are not a NARC and an abusive person. Anyway, I thought that the gesture with the dog was sweet, but I also thought, like, could we do something romantic? Can we go out to dinner? Can we, do the couples massage or something like that, like some of the other couples were doing? You take her to wash her dog. Like, it was a sweet gesture, but I also felt like, okay, whatever. It's obvious that that dog is starting to grow on Aris. You listen, real quick story. So I don't know how my siblings and I are such animal people, such dog people, because we always had them growing up. But my parents, my mom and my dad, both hate dogs. It was my grandparents, now that I think about it, because they had animals, and I guess that's why my parents allowed us to have them, but they hate them. They didn't want no parts of them. I'm not walking no dog. I'm gonna get that damn dog away. They were like that. Yes. Right? So anyway, my dad is not an animal person. Even now that he's older, I want him to get a dog to kind of, watch out for him. No, he's not a dog person. But anyway, my stepmother, my former stepmother, I got another one now, but anyway, love her. Anyway, my former stepmother, she got this dog while they were married, and my dad was fussing the whole time. I don't know how she talked him into getting that damn dog. She must have been like, look, we getting the dog and you just gonna have to deal, sir. Anyway, my dad hated that dog. He would just be like, get that dog away from me. The dog can't, he would go on and on and on and on. And I remember one time going to visit them, and my dad's saying something like he's always, talking trash to the dog, right? And then he's like, "Come here with your little fat self." And then he's like, and then he starts petting the dog. And then I'm noticing that every time I would go, he's playing with the dog a little more. And he's trying to act like he don't like her, but he is totally in love with that dog. I think that's exactly what is happening with Aris right now. He is falling for that dog. Now, he ain't falling for Jasmine, but he is falling for Mrs. Duchess. So I don't see the two of them being together. But just like, remember Mirla hated dogs too, and then when her and what season was that? The Houston season. And then the next thing you know, when her and Gil broke up, she ended up getting one of her own. Don't be surprised if that happens with Aris. Anyway, he washes the dog. It was cute. It made Jasmine feel good. And then, but later, when they do their intimacy exercise, because this was the episode where everybody's doing their intimacy exercise, Aris decides to play Never Have I Ever. And all of the questions he's asking are these real, like, freaky sexual questions. So he's asking Jasmine if she's ever kissed a girl. He's asking her if she ever had a threesome, if she's ever cheated, all this freaky deaky stuff. Like, he's talking about the fact that he's had an orgy and all of that. And Jasmine is completely irritated, and rightfully so. Like, those type of questions, I think, are for the party when everybody gets drunk and maybe y'all are about to get down and do some stuff. Like, I don't know. It's like, on the Real Housewives of Atlanta episode when they invite Bolo over. Those are those type of questions, right? The girls trip. It is not for that was it. They were just not in that place where they should have been asking those type of questions. Jasmine was irritated. I was irritated. It annoyed me so much. Like I said last week, send Aris back home to his cousin and get him out of our face. Jasmine, I hope some dude is watching this show and he's in your inbox right now. Because, girl, this right here, like she said, it's not it. And like I said with Shaq and Kirsten, I believe the tables are turned. I feel like in this episode, the tables are now turning for Jasmine. I feel like she's turned off and she's no longer attracted to him. I don't know what you saw in him in the first place, but yeah, send that boy back home to his cousin here. I am over him. Clint and Gina, do you see the smile on my face? Do you see how Clint and Gina, they were so cute this week. So, and I told y'all I think the very first review I did, I like Clint. And this made me, I like Clint again. Clint and I are friends again, okay? So, first of all, I feel like their intimacy exercise went very well. So Gina talked about growing up with her parents being divorced. It seemed like her home life was very unstable. They moved around a lot and all of that. And it probably explains why Gina worked so hard, because I feel like people who grew up in instability, they want to make sure that doesn't happen to them again, right? So they usually work very hard. They're stacking up their money. They're doing that kind of stuff, right? And then Clint told a story about getting a woman pregnant and how excited he was about having this baby. And then she lost the baby, and he was saying that was the first time that he experienced like physical symptoms because he was so broken up about losing this baby. That made me like Clint even more, because I'm going to tell you something. As someone who has been through it, unfortunately, more than once, I find that, and I've heard other women say that, I find that when you go through that, men tend to, not that they won't be sad and they won't cry with you and all of that, because I definitely had that. But then, for men, it seems like they can just wake up the next day or 2 days later like, okay, we're good. Especially because you're usually physically good after a couple of days and you just go on, right? So they just move on. So Clint, to really, really be sad about that just made me kind of like, oh, I just felt so bad for him. And, I hope he gets to become a dad, right? Because it seems like it's very clear that that's something that he really, really wants in his life. So Gina, you can tell that softened her up a lot. He also went to go see her in her salon. Gina's friend, why did you ask that man if he was dirty? Like, what kind of question is that? She claimed that it was because he made the bidet joke, but I also think it's just Clint's look. And I don't think Clint looks dirty or anything like that, but Clint is not that clean cut kind of guy. So I feel like that's why she was saying that. I don't know. But I thought it was just like such an inappropriate question to ask. What is wrong with you, ma'am? And Gina was just kind of like, I was like, Gina, girl, check your friend. Check your girl. Anyway, Clint takes Gina sailing, and Gina seemed to really, really enjoy herself. See, I told y'all this before. I have a thing for those type of outdoorsy, you know, like that. A guy taking me sailing? Oh, baby, I would have ate all of that up. I just told y'all I'm changing my name to something that has to do with the water. The water is my element. And I realized this the other day. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother, like when we were kids, she used to go out in the boat and go fishing. Like that was her thing. My paternal grandfather, that is how he and my grandmother met. He actually worked on a boat and was a fisherman and all of that. And he met my grandmother because she did. Yeah, my dad was a career sailor. I mean, in the military, right? But he also is a sailor. He does all of that. That's his thing. So it's really, really embedded in my DNA. I just love all of that. So yeah, dude taking me sailing. Let's do this. You can see her and Clint's body language. Like they seem to be really you know, just enjoying each other a little bit more. And I feel like if they hadn't had that conversation about what they're normally attracted to in the beginning, they would have gotten here sooner. Then they went to the bull riding thing. I thought Gina's outfit was so cute. The little cowboy boots and the shorts and the jacket. Gina's, y'all know I think she is so adorable. But anyway, now I ride the bull in the club. Now, you know, you put a tequila shot or two in me. Now, I will do that. But I ain't going to no bull riding competition, no ma'am. And if I'm doing it, I gotta be way back because them bulls, I just feel like, you know, if they get angry enough, they might run up into the stand. So no, thank you. But anyway, you know, they're drinking beer, they're chilling, they're having a good time. Listen, I'm starting to have hope for Clint and Gina. According to the spoilers, maybe I shouldn't say this, but according to the so-called rumor reports, they did not stay married. But I hope I'm wrong about that because I really like the two of them this week. They made me happy. Anyway, you guys, that's all I got for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.